Hey there, so I want to talk real quickly about the problem with constantly just identifying yourself as, or seeing yourself throughout your whole life as just a black woman. Like literally, you're black first, right? You're seeing yourself as black first no matter where you go, okay? And to constantly hold that in your subconscious as being black. You go to a restaurant, you're black. You go to hitchhike to hike, you're black. You go to the airport, you're black. You constantly have to just see yourself as a black woman. And it's to me it's dehumanizing, it's demoralizing, and it really shows that deep down in the subconscious mind you don't see yourself as having value, having to constantly see yourself as a black woman everywhere you go. And I'm saying black as using this term black before being a human, being a spirit being, having a human experience, or even being a woman. You just going around as just being black first. Black. Everything is like it has to start with black. Excuse me. Yeah. So I wanted to talk about, to piggyback off my last upload, about this question: should black women have standards? Should they require such and such? And it's like, you're a woman, regardless of whatever race has been placed upon you, but regardless of whatever identity, a caste system, or box that people wanted to place you in. You are a woman, you're a human being, and you should be treated as a human being. Not should black women have standards. What does your being black having to do with being deserving of standards? Like, it's the black has to be the determining factor in whether you should have standards or not. No other woman, I don't hear other women kind of talk like this. And I'm gonna tell you something. I have seen other women that have had problems with men from their cultures that are non-black, because I've heard them talk to me about it. And I've seen these ladies that deal with men of their cultures that don't want to pay for nothing, that don't hardly want to pay for dinners, that don't want to pay when to come in and freeload. Now, granted, obviously not all of their men are like that, because their men still build. I mean, they still have countries where where their men still build. But for the most part, it's a lot of women that deal with men who are quite cheap. That's what I'm saying. Okay. And I'm not trying to compare them to black women. I think black women need to get rid of the identity of black, because it's almost like you have to be a victim in every single situation. You have to be a victim, because I can already hear black women saying, "Well, I played is still not the same as the Iranian women, or the Israeli, or the Korean women, or the whoever." It's like a competition of who has it the worst. And black women seem like she wants to have a competition in her struggle, and who struggles the worst. How do I get around in the world being a black woman? How do I go in this restaurant in order being a black woman? How can I go into this upscale grocery store being a black woman? How can I go and play golf being a black woman? It's almost like you're in competition with just being struggle. You want to be the one who struggles the most. It's like it's like a competition of struggle. If to be honest with you, I don't think a lot of these black women want better, because if it ever comes a time where somebody else just might have it worse than a black woman, if it ever comes a time where somebody else just might have it worse than black women, she's going to find a way and compete and talk about how white supremacy is treating her, or how black men are treating her, or whatever's going on, to find a way that she has to have it worse as a black woman. This term, and constantly seeing yourself as black, is very dehumanizing. It's subconsciously, you're telling yourself that you're a nobody. You're telling yourself you're a nobody, really. To constantly have to question how you get around in the world, and how you're supposed to love, and what kind of standards you're supposed to have based on black. Like, black just has to come first before everything. Black literally comes first before everything. I mean, to ask the question, Well, should black women have standards? You should have standards like any woman have standards. What kind of question is that? You put black first. You should have standards because you are a human being. And you shouldn't be treated worse than a freaking dog. But black has to come first. So now you have to decide what your worth is based on blackness. Regardless of how much work you put on yourself, no matter if you are the epitome of perfection of all women, period, on the planet, you still have to ask your question, but I'm a black woman. So do black women deserve respect? Do black women, excuse me, I was kind of scratching my throat because I was talking earlier. Do black women deserve to have standards? Do black women deserve to be treated with any kind of, it's like, it's too much emphasis on this word black to the point where you can't see yourself as a human being like everybody else. Like, black women literally cannot see themselves as a human being like everybody else because everything has to be the black first. You should never ask a question, should black women have standards? That makes no sense. You're a woman. You should demand standards like any other woman. And if you worked on yourself, you should demand the kind of standards according to how you work on yourself. It has nothing to do with blackness. It has nothing to do with blackness. Whether white, black, or whatever your standards to be, in my opinion, your standards should be based on the amount of work that you have put on yourself. Okay? So, that's it. I gotta go. But yeah, that's it. It's just too much emphasis on blackness and not on just being a human being, just being a person who is deserving of the best because she worked on herself to require the best. It's like if you have the money to pay for an expensive to throw an expensive party, or the money to fly first class, right? Say if you got the money to fly first class, or you have the money to get on a private jet. Your expectations and your standards should be around the fact that not only do you feel like you deserve it, but it should also be around the fact that you got the money to pay for it, right? You got the money to pay for it. It shouldn't have anything to do with whether you're black or not. This ain't no doggone 1960s where you got the whites only fountain and the blacks only fountain. Is somebody stopping you? Right? It should be because you got money to pay for that first class. It should be because you got money to pay for that private jet. Now, should a black woman fly first class? Or should a black woman fly a private jet? Everything is centered around black, and I think it's a competition with black women, whether they know it or not. They like to hold on to struggle, to constantly just see themselves as black in every single situation. Should black women use the bathroom? Okay. Should black women sweat? It's like a competition within yourself to hold on to struggle and to see yourself as struggling more than anybody else on the planet. I feel like that's what that's about, because it makes no sense to constantly just put black on everything. You deserve what you deserve. You work on yourself. You deserve to get equal to what you work on. If you got millions of dollars to spend on something, then whatever you request, whatever venue you try to book, should be based on you got the money to pay for it. So if you got the money to pay for it, you have every right to have a standard. You have every right to have a standard. Okay? And it's not because you don't deserve it, no matter how much money you have and how hard you worked for this. You shouldn't have a standard because you're black. Doesn't matter if you pay millions of dollars. You're a black woman. That's silly. That's silly, and that's something that just needs to just get out the minds of a lot of these black women. Okay? But that'll be it.